And to clarify the message, I should add no more corruption, obscurzy, no more Congora, leaning on your hole when others are digging. That's called a Congora in our language. No more Kubumaza, Kuzia, diverting somebody's attention from the real target to the wrong target. No more to hinder, overburden us when we work and we're just sitting down. And no more politeness to non-performers who want leadership for their own ego and personal interests. This is the Xanja, no sleep. The story of the NRM and Uganda starts in the early 1960s. Personally, I started waking up our people in 1959 when I visited Mbala Stock Farm as a junior secondary one pupil at Mbala High School. Having come from the Ntungamo area that was democratically outside the money economy, and everybody was on Okoro Chita Chonka, working only for the stomach subsistence. Combined with the school education, when we came to know about the enclosure movement in the UK, Oxibasengenge for agriculture, the Industrial Revolution in Europe, etc. By 1965, the sectarian politics of the political groups notwithstanding, our ideas about the socio-economic transformation had coalesced. It was clear that the small enclave economy of the British, of the 3 C's and 3 T's, was a disaster for the majority of the people. You want proof? Just look at the infant mortality rate in 1962 and the average life expectancy in 1962. There were 128 per 1,000 live births, and life expectancy was 46.8 for everybody on the average. We soon grasped the importance of having vertically integrated and horizontally integrated national economies. In the 20 years of chaos between 1966 and 1986, our views were eventually find you in an anthem, write another stanza. Building an independent, integrated, self-sustaining national economy. However, for the people to participate in the vertical and horizontal integration of the economy of the country, they had to join the money economy first and move out of the traditional pre-capitalist economy of working for a chida chonka, working only for the stomach, just subsistence. Since my nomadic family, because my family was nomadic, since my nomadic family had migrated from Ntungamo to Nyabushozi, it was the good luck of Nyabushozi that we started our activities there. These activities involved sensitizing the population of the cattle corridor stop nomadism, make enclosures around their land, Sengenge, engage in commercial agriculture with the Chibaro, Chura, Aymar, calculation for profit and maximum returns. You can see in the videos, let them show us some of the families we started with if they are there on the videos. Their testimony. Amazina gange, Estamagada, Matala, Handahita, Gungwe, and Ferenc. Ampa Trejoma, Wakaganeta, Ampa. Elias Konka, Makanga Jotempango, Kiriam Pango, and Pango Nese, the Tony Vinge, Tony, the Tony Chodiambra, Richak, Kaka home. October to you, Teresa, to the Gokter, Kat and Kavakar Mojambo. President Izo, alongsanya ya mukaga yataye mu makagaitu kugira ngo akataragira ngo naragira akari umwana w'ishomero kandi umukiza n'imyaka namna yinje mukiza ubundi yaninje mukiza kandi umukiza imyaka akatsomesa y'umwana yatsomesa okutura okuhinga okumbeka amazu gatakugira ngo n'amabati agatwaye mbekere banyu bagehome okuba batuza umunsi okurera kuzengerera okurera kutasha kutwa abanda nambwini nkaitu nkanya nkenjo yange ekeha kye kutasha kanyahara konka yatutanga yatwegesa ibintu birungi yatwegesa okushitama yatwegesa okutura yatwegesa twaba abantu mbwini kuko abantu babere abari kumanya kuri ko babere bari itwe twatandika bakaramogi kandi nakigamba twatandika bakaramogi akabakaramogi bakabaturana bafuruka nambwe nabo mpurira ngo babegesa abandi akabari yatampani mpurira nabo bagambirira ururimi rw'abantu mubi yakikiza no kuturkushoku no kutuye mukono no atari kapate nangwe no kuba umuntu nako kandi tumukize imyaka itwe kandi tumukize imyaka hari hata nangwe ni mukire n'ubundi yampa ati kuyahirize kutegesa ibintu ibyo kutwayega kutwayembeka amaju g'ihome kutwaba abatoze kutwarira furuka kutwahinga yagera umukishaka yayongeraho cya kabiri yayongeraho twatunga injungu yayongeraho ubwenge bwo kugemura and she said that when we came to teach them in 1966 we were students having finished A level and we told them to stop. She was saying that they were like the Karamojong. At Skatun Kabakoromush. Nomadic. And if you read our booklets, if you are polite, if you if you can make yourself a bit humble to learn from smaller people like us, then you will see how we argued with those traditional people to stop from nomadism, stop nomadism, and have settled agriculture, grow crops, and so on. Now, she was saying that because of the insecurity, we had to go away to fight. But when we came back, 1986, we added the issue of going now, not only just being settled, but being settled and also doing commercial agriculture with the Chivaro. That's why we advise them to go into dairy farming, because dairy farming was more for smallholders and medium people. It was better than beef ranching. Beef ranching needs more land. Now, that model, which started in the Nyamshoz area, has spread to the whole cattle corridor south of the Nile. There's a man called Matongo in the Ngoma area. Let's see what he says. Amazina yangu George Matongo kwa Ngoma ngo ngo taka anta mama wanjye ndi muri isa ntse mujya kureba ngo cyanditse tutakanda ngento kuya tado kwa kwakagana muri isa zakanya nabona taka ndetse nazo zakorera kwenda zatuza abana bereje naturu kabanza umunyakwe naje narinda kumata muntungu ukura hanyura natunga atuzungu zindisumuke. On our farm, we collect over 900 liters of milk per day, and a liter costs 800 shillings, which is approximately 21 million per month. So now this is now another side of the cattle corridor, Ngoma, Nagaseke district. But the cattle corridor is continuous from the border with Tanzania in Isingiro all the way up to northern Uganda. But much of the work we have done so far was in the south of the Nile, from River Kajera up to Chiriandongo. They have all changed. Now that man is in Ngoma area. The infrastructure is not so good, but you can see they are having a lot of money. That particular one is selling 900 liters of milk per day. The price is low, it's not high, but they still get 21 million shillings a month. You can see that girl there, she's educated because of the money which the parents have to pay for her in the schools. And they have moved from the other small houses which the old lady was showing you to now permanent buildings to live a better life. Now that is the testimony from the cattle corridor. That's why this time really I am no longer interested in non-performers. Between 1986 and 1989, we campaigned for prioritizing the enterprise of dairy farming for the small and medium farmers, while the big players could continue with the ranching for beef. By 1995, the cattle corridor had started changing. People getting income per month from the milk, building better houses, paying school fees for children in paying schools. Indeed, our late Magaga is the husband of the other lady whom you saw, and father of the Lieutenant General Kavuma. Is Kavuma here? Is he here? He's a big general now. Oh, you can see how big he is. There he is. Now, their family were together, the wife, the one you saw, and the husband who died. Indeed, our late comrade Magaga, the father of Kavuma, came to me and told me that he did not know what to do with the money. When they started getting money from the milk, he couldn't believe it. He came to me. I just said, Your people really, once you say you are a leader, you are putting a problem on yourself. If you don't become a real leader, God will not like you. I can assure you of this. Either you lead or you stay in your home. Don't try to be a leader when you are not. When you don't care about the people. So Magaga came and said, a citizen should be enhanced. Because the milk people are paid every 15 days. They are paid. And this had never happened in Magaga's life. She had never seen it. That a villager is being paid every 15 days, being paid money. Being paid every 15 days. That's what she told me. As if I am working in a government office and being paid a salary. That was the tragedy of Uganda at that time. Only the civil colonial servants could get a regular income. This changed in the Kato corridor by the traditional families of Abatar Soma. Because these people had never gone to school. Magaga had never gone to school. His wife had never gone to school. To change Abatar Soma, the ones who never went to school. It was engineered by us, was against the advice of the professionals. Professionals did not believe we could change these people. They would tell me you're wasting your time. Those Wanyankore cannot change. They were all saying to a man that the Wanyankore could not change from their pre-capitalist lifestyle to a money economy. Moreover, when we were doing this, nobody among the colonial elite would agree to support us. It is only Mzee Biagima who gave us 20 shillings. With my colleague Mweswa Black, who died in 1972 in our wars, we used the only person who helped us gave us 20 shillings. That's about $3. $3. Just short of $3. Because a dollar that time was 7 shillings. A dollar. So $3 would be 21 shillings. So when we went to say we are going to mobilize the Wanyankore to stop nomadism, other people refused to help us. Mzee gave us 20 shillings. With my colleague Mwesugo Black, who died in 1972 in our wars, we used 7 shillings per person to use Mongonya's bus from Baratursheri through Ruhumba. That was 14 shillings. So out of our 20, we used 14 to come from Baratursheri. 2 of us, each was 7 shillings. Mwesugo was a smoker. So we took away shillings 120 to buy a packet of Sportsman. That left us with 4 shillings 80 cents. After holding public meetings at Rusheri, we used the Bazarana bus to a place called Katongore, each using shillings, 1 shilling and 20 cents. That is 2 shillings and 40 cents. In the Katongore area, we started moving on foot up to near Nama, where we spent the night leaning against the harvested millet. When we spent one of the nights, we spent it leaning against the millet of one of the peasants called Chankuru. Millet is very comfortable when it is not threshed, when it is in the sheaves. After addressing a public meeting at Nama, the group gave us bicycle rides to Mzee Dasene's place near Mamasha Dam. Moving on foot, we addressed meetings, including a mega one at where there is Karo Secondary School now. You should have seen the grandfathers and other adults listening to these young people. I was just 22 years old that time, and Musuku was just slightly older than me. Thereafter, we moved on foot out of Mr. Tanyuka's home that we had made our camp and spent the night at Rushere with Mzee Mhinga. Thereafter, our remaining 2 shillings and 40 cents could only take us up to Nyakasharara. And from there, we walked on foot all the way to Mbarara, spending the night at my kraal in Akairum near Garu and Mbarara area. It was now 1967, January, and it was time to take up our temporary teaching jobs and get our own money to easily support our voluntary struggle for our people. Therefore, when I hear leaders talking of allowances to reach their people and get them out of poverty, I almost get nausea. I feel like vomiting. If you don't know, when I look at you, the way you do things, I really feel very not pleased, but out of politeness, I've been keeping quiet. But now I'm telling you, even those who get government allowances do not go to the field. I hear that many just stay in Kampala. Another mistake is for leaders to give personal money to constituents. As you can see here, we had no money to give to anybody. The only money we had, even when we started getting our own salaries, was for bus transport. Most of the time, I would ride the bicycle from Kazo to Burunga, from Burunga to Waitara and back. The only fuel I needed was no fat on my body. So now you hear a problem. Muruka Chief, what is a motorcycle? Motorcycle for what? Let Muruka Chief ride a bicycle. I'm really sick and tired of that parasitism. Thinking that people will learn by example. No. This is the time to talk straight. Money, let him use a bicycle. It is better for him. He will live longer if he rides a bicycle. Even the Gombore chief, the Gombore is not so big. Why should we have fuel? All of that work can't be done because there's no money for fuel. The only fuel I needed was no fat on my body. We would share food and accommodation with our hosts, the population. God has kept me here, and I'm now 82 years old, almost, not exactly, but almost. In spite of the efforts we expended in the resistance, the most important contribution to the people of the Capital Corridor was the diagnosis of their problems and the prescriptions we offered. Because these people had no money to give them. The only thing we gave them was a correct analysis, diagnosis, and a prescription. They were enough to arouse their enthusiasm and expectations. That was the reason they massively joined the young party we formed in 1980, known as UPM, after the parties were again allowed to exist. No money given to them, but accurate analysis and prescription that was a projected solution. And also reaching them. You can imagine a 22-year-old children calling adults, grandfathers, and they come to these meetings. By 1986, the production of milk in Uganda was 200 million liters per annum. It is now 5.4 billion liters, saving Uganda US dollars 1.56 billion of imports and earning US dollars 285 million in export earnings. So this work we did not only help these cattle raising families, but saved Uganda the import bill of $1.56 billion. If we were importing all this milk, Uganda would be spending $1.56 billion. Additionally, Uganda is earning now $285 million in export earnings. Uganda used to import tinned condensed milk from as far away as New Zealand, packed paper milk from Kenya, butter, cheese, yogurt, powdered milk, etc. from Denmark, etc. Uganda now is a big exporter of all those products. That is our work. The people in the cattle corridor need to deepen their work by going away from Oxetra, free range, to growing pasture and indoor feeding of cattle, goats, and sheep. The only people who indirectly helped us in this were the late King Gasyonga and some community leaders like Eliazari Bitende, who had mobilized Banyankole to come back from where they had been dispersed by the spread of the tsetse flies, following the invasion of tsetse flies from Karagwe, Tanzania in 1918 and after. To be saluted in particular is President Eisenhower of the United States, who deployed USAID to spray against the tsetse flies in 1958 using a chemical known as dieldrin. When President Clinton visited us in March 1998, I wanted him to visit the cattle corridor and see the outcomes of the good the USAID had done. However, his people preferred to take him to Mukono to see pancakes. So I wanted him to go and see this work, but his people said, no, you go to Mukono and see pancakes. So they went to see pancakes. Even me, I went with them. Ever since the coming into power of the NRM, we have eradicated the tsetse flies in Ichiboga, Ngoma, Soga, Lango, etc. With the shift from Kusetura, free range, to indoor feeding of the dairy and beef cattle, and stopping the primitive practice of property fragmentation after the death of the head of the family, Uganda will overtake countries like the Netherlands, Australia, Argentina in production levels of dairy products, beef, leather, etc. After this success, I started inviting delegations of leaders from other parts of Uganda to visit and learn. This is where the question of no more sleep, no more kongara, no more kugumaza, no more kuhenda, no more politeness to run performance comes here. Because I would invite leaders, come please and see. This area was like this. We have now moved it, it's moving like this. And they would visit. My expectation was that they would go and try to do the same in all our areas in Uganda. The county of Nyabushozi each day delivers to the factories and milk coolers 1.15 million liters of milk per day. That's county alone. There are 115 milk coolers in Nyabushozi alone, mainly private. And there are now 160 milk and milk products factories in the whole of Uganda. Having succeeded in the Nyabushozi-Kazo area, and having been inviting delegations after delegations in 1995, I made a countrywide tour on exactly this point. I studied the whole country, and I recommended the two modes of agriculture. Intensive agriculture for people with small pieces of land, and extensive agriculture for people with big pieces of land. In the 1996 manifesto, we reduced it into the 4 acres model with 7 activities for intensive farming and for other products for the plantations and the big farmers with big pieces of land. With 4 acres or less, you could engage in zero grazing for 1 acre of pasture with 8 Frisian cattle, 1 acre of coffee, 1 acre of fruits, 1 acre of food for the family, poultry for eggs and piggery in the backyard, and fish farming near the wetlands. With large farming, there was more flexibility. You could undertake any or all of these 7 that were high income earners, even when you do them on a small scale, and you could also take on the low value, the low returns activities, but on a large scale, because the country also needs them. These are products like tea, cotton, sugarcane, cattle ranching, etc. The logical question was, how do we, the cashless people of our community, the Chunga, start? That's what the question. Once I started talking about this after the 1996 elections, the question was, where is the capital to start? Immediately, we put in Tanduko money to work as a revolving fund. And we are checking in Ruwaga division here in Kampala. There was a DP chairperson known as Sandy Kadiwa at that time in that area. That money was already there. And I was telling Sandy Kadiwa how to use that money to give low interest capital to our people. Since that time, we have never relented. NADS in the year 2001, Operation Wealth Creation 2013, PDM starting in the year 2022, Myoga in the year 2020, etc. Many families have listened and benefited. In my country tours, I found a man called Mudebo in Solonko. Let's see Mudebo. Mananga James Mudebo. Ifamu ino iri inazachi. Natandika mini mojange rinoba rugendo rwanje. Ngidina makwekwe natandika ngendo kuba ya kafu yange y'enyowa ebintu. Nigiba yange ngirange ekisala. Ekabi nagirange etubabula. Natandika nakolera kyekubonerako imbale ngembona mu housing estate. Mwaka 1918 neza emaza kyano nagula linswa ndazagala nga nongera akanafuna mu balayi wezi eka zibiri ni kakatu nebutikiti kibuda zikafu ano sawa eno ndiwoni zikafu zine zesi ekaba amabere zikafu zine zino zindetera amabere lita enkaaga naza muwoni nga ewose ngabira ku bantu zina zikafu nga nakuwera ekafu ikulu ngayi ekafu yikola kyene wenga enyowa eba yusemusi yekabiri nabayo omwanya naza ekyo kyekubonerako nagabira komesa odeje ndayo maludye nga bayisa bati era saawayi ongoboseresena sikafu enano nese mumongo utamangose sesopakwenano enano imosi. Now, what Mudebo is saying in Ramasab, which you people don't understand, he's saying that he was living in the town, in a Makwekwe trading suburb of Mbale. But when this program came, this one was, I think this was NADS, one of the first ones. He got a car from NADS and was keeping it in Namakwekwe. But eventually he got money and bought, I think, two acres in Sironko. He moved from Ramapoka, now he went back to Sironko, bought land. Zika for what you were saying, the cows. I think now they're giving like 60 liters. Is my Rugisu correct? Or 60 liters or something like that. Now, with the milk, not only the milk, but also the cow dung, he went into coffee growing. We don't have time to listen to the whole story, to the Chibaro, but he's doing very well. This is Mutiego, who started with nuts long ago. Then now you go to there's somebody called Chelimo of Boko. Let's say Chelimo of Boko.
Welcome to this village. Is called Ngeny village, Kapkoro sub-county, Boko district. I'm a farmer. I'm doing dairy. As you can see, I have 3 cows now, but 2 are producing milk. 1 is still growing. I also have a coffee, 1,200 trees. I have bananas on 1 acre. I also have fruits, apples specifically, and then I have horticulture. I'm growing vegetables, and then I have chicken, the local breed, but I have 100 so far under poultry unit, which we are producing for milk, for eggs, and also for sale. We really thank government because when I started this farm, I started doing this farming activity in 2004. I did it using my own resources, but in 2018, government under Operation Whereas Creation, they gave us a cow, and now this cow so far it has sired 3. These ones are 3 because of the congestion here. I've taken them to another annexed farm which I bought. These cows here, it has assisted me so much as a farmer because we are getting milk. As you can see, this one here, this one is Asha. It has produced milk for over 1 year plus. So the milk production has gone down, but so far we are getting 10 liters a day from this other cow. Then this one is a crossbreed, a local and a crossbreed. We are getting, this one gives us 8 liters. So in total, these cows give us 18 liters per day. This 18 liters, when you calculate it with the current market price of 1,800, we get like 900,000 every month from these 2 cows. So next year, all of them are they are pregnant. We expect them to produce in January. So when we get now peak production, our milk is going to increase. But so far, these other 2 cows is assisting us in payment of fees, maintaining the home. We are also getting the bananas, which we sell on weekly basis. At least we get like 250,000. In a month we get like about 1 million from the bananas. Then the coffee is also doing very well. So far, this year we have already picked 5 bags of dry parchment, and that 5 bags, when you calculate it to the price of 10,000, that is already 5 million. The coffee is doing very well because of this mixed farming ingredient. We get the cow dung, we get the bioauxiliary, and that is what you can see the bananas are very healthy, and also the coffee is doing very well. So that is what we are getting.
That is the testimony of Cherimo. I didn't get time to calculate the whole Chibaro, the whole calculation, the milk, the 900,000 per month. That would be like 10 million a year. Then you have the bananas, 200,000 per. Then you have the coffee. But he started benefiting from Operation Rice Creation. Let's see now Kaziwe of Ginger.
Kanya kangize Kaziwamai, Tuli Namazala LC1, Mercedes of County, Jinya District. One way to Kaziwa, farming mixed farming, Yawaka. Farm when Vagitandika, Mukubili, Combination of Afghanica and yatuwewa gavumenti nga tuyita mu kitongole ekya NATS. Mu kiseera ekyo gavumenti yali etuwa emitwalo 7 era ffe emitwalo 7 twayogerako emitwalo 35 ne tugula enjana ku miliyoni 1 n'emitwalo 5. Ente eyo etuzaalidde abaana kati mu kiraalo wano saawa zino wenjogerera waliwo ente 11 naye abaana bezadde abaana ente eyo bezadde n'abazikuluna bonna bazze batuzaalira kale tuzze nga tutunda ku nte okukendeza ku carrying capacity nga bwe tuli ku faamu kuno tulinako ente ezikamwa saawa eno tukama ente 5 nga tufunamu amata agawera lita 8. Buli lita egitunda siringi 12 olunaku ne tufuna emitwalo 9 mu kakaaga. Omwezi ogumu tufuna miliyoni zaffe 2.88. Kakati bwe tujjako ez'abakozi ne tujjako eziddukanya faamu n'ebirala ogenda okumaliriza nga kisikazizaamu miliyoni 1.5 ezo ezikola emirimu emirala mu maka. Mu nte muno era tujjamu biogas. Biogas tumukozesa mu kufumba. Oba mu nnimiro tosobola kamenyeka osagama wano gaasi okufumba nebitereera era kyatutaasa nnyo tetukyamenyeka nangu. Kino kyenkutte mu ngalo ye sabbuuni waffe gwe tukola okuva mu busafa obw'ente. Sabbuuni eno tumukola mu bioslurry aba avudde mu biogas digester nga gaasi amaze okuvaamu. Sabbuuni ono tumupakinga mu lita 1 ne mu lita 5. Lita 1 tugitunda 3,000 nga currently omwezi production yaffe ya lita 7 era nga buli lita tugitunda 3,000. Bw'obalabalamu omwezi tuyinza 20,000 okuva mu sabbuuni waffe ono. Ng'oggyeko bye tukozesa n'ebira packaging materials ng'obudomola buno ne bu stickers buno tuteekako obwa labeling, tukakkana nga tulinawo emitwalo gyaffe 18 ezitaliiko musolo okuva mu sabbuuni buli mwezi. Egiyita COVID kati bwe twali mu lockdown nga buli muntu ali waka yali samba yazikajja ne tusalawo ne tugamba ebikajja tubiggyewo tuzimbewo koko olwonto nga maze okugendako ewamukwano gwange maze n'okuwulira pulezidenti bw'asomesa eka modo wano tulinawo ebikolo bya koko 108 buli eka bakiteekamu ebikolo 45. Kati nga tetunnaba okutandika kulya koko twali amatooke kuba buli kikolo kya koko w'okiraba kwaliko ekitooke. Muze yagamba ffe eka modo tuli ku principle ye kituufu naye ffe tubala bikolo tubala nti ebikolo 45 yinza okukola eka kati ffe tubala nti wano tulinawo eka emu ey'ebitooke.
Kaziwe near Jinja has cows selling 80 liters of milk a day, has coffee, has cocoa, has bananas, as you can see. I think even had pigs, but we don't have time to see all that. Now, all these, some of them, he got them from Operation Wealth Creation when it was giving out some of the seedlings. Then there are other, my favorite from Abim, Karamoja. Let's see that one. I am a model farmer in Abim district. My village here is called Arangetai West. Arangetai Parish, Abuk Town Council, Abim district in Karamoja. The mango trees you are seeing here were given to me by the president through Operation Wealth Creation. I received 200 mango seedlings. And I planted all, and they're all doing well. Apart from this venture, I got money from PDM last year. I got 880,000. And I used 800,000 for buying 10 goats. And the goats are there. They have multiplied. They are now 16. Part of the money of PDM I used for buying cassava stems. Through that money, I've managed to plant 2 acres of cassava. They are now doing well. The first acre, I intend to harvest next year in January. And then for the mangoes, you are seeing, I started harvesting last year in 2023. The first harvest, I got 6 million. That was in June. Then second harvest in November, I got another 6 million. So last year, from these mangoes, I got 12 million shillings. I've been selling to the people around. Actually, Soroti Fruit Factory has booked this mango. They want me to take these mangoes tomorrow, 2025, to the factory. Actually, I've been selling locally. I've been selling 1 at 500 shillings, 2 1,000. And people are buying. These mangoes are very good. The mangoes trees we are seeing here are giving me money, a lot of money. And I want to thank His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Uganda, Kaguta Museveni, for coming up with the idea of Operation Wealth Creation in the country. This is money. I am not going to suffer. My children will not suffer because of this wealth. I call it wealth now. I always invest. I don't invest in mango. I invest money, not mangoes. So I want to thank our president so much. And next year, if all goes well, I expect to get 18 million first harvest. And then second harvest, I also expect to get 18 million. So now there, you have another Magaga in Karamoja. Because you remember Magaga, the father of John Kafuma, told me that he did not know what to do with the money. He said it's Jirenta. He said it's Shoveri. Every 15 days I get money. Now here I've got this man from Mapim saying that I'm not going to suffer. My family will not suffer. Bye-bye to poverty. He's here speaking in English, and he speaks very clear English. That's why I like that video. With the big farmers and the manufacturers, the government has put a total of Uganda shillings 1,600 billion in the UDB. Because the question was, once we started preaching, stop working for the stomach only, work for the stomach and the pocket. Some of the communities in the capital corridor, they didn't ask for capital. They moved without capital. They used their own capital. The only thing we gave them was advice. But in the other areas, they didn't have the indigenous, because for them they had indigenous cows. They converted them and they got capital, many of them. But in other areas, it was not so easy. So that's why we started with the Entanikwa and NADS and Operation Wealth Creation and now PDM. But this is for the smaller people. The question is now, how about the big farmers and the manufacturers? Yes, we have not forgotten those. With the big farmers and the manufacturers, the government has put a total of Uganda shillings 1,600 billion in the UDB. The interest rate for that money is 12% per annum. The interest rate for PDM is 6% per annum and payable after 2 years. Hence, for shillings 1 million, the borrower will return shillings 1.2 million for the PDM. We are always creating other funds for the ghettos, for the musicians, etc. So capital is not a problem. Unlike the colonial agents who never want to plan for Africa, we have told Ugandans that our economy has got potential in 4 sectors. Services, commercial agriculture, manufacturing, and ICT. The president is here. Parliament is here. Once people have woken up from sleep and they want local capital, if the shilling is 100 million per parish per annum or any other fund that is not enough, we can increase the money by adjusting from other areas. With the capital corridor, we did not wait for low interest capital. As already said, our only contribution to them was the word. The capital corridor, the work there was Echigambo, like the one with the Bible. In the beginning, there was the word. The word was God. There we just use the word. In the other areas, we use the word and the capital. It's there. Small capital for small things, big capital for big things. The advice was to go from nomadism, sedentary agriculture, to go from Okole Chidachonka to working for the stomach and for the pocket, and do so with the Chibaro. Additionally, in the cattle corridor, I gave 20 milk coolers that had been brought by Danida. That was all. They converted their indigenous Ankole cattle in half-breeds, a Viva with Frisians, and they took off. However, wealth creation cannot take place if there is no peace, no law and order, and supportive infrastructure in the country. The UPDF always guarantees peace in the country. The police and judiciary must ensure law and order. The NRM has struggled to stomach. So with infrastructure, our scorecard is clear and must not be allowed to be spoiled. The NRM has struggled to stomach the core national Aru, Nimule, and Musingo in the north. These are all linked by tarmac roads. Then the tarmac road is continuous from the north through the Kampala area to Kachitumba, Katuna, Chanika, and Bunagana in the south. The mistake has been by the Ministry of Works to allow these roads to deteriorate, and then we start to doing heavy work afterwards. The new ministers must ensure. I don't want to see what happened to some of the roads like the Fort Portal Road. But there's a story about that Fort Portal Road. There's a story of corruption, that road. I hope the new team will deal with that issue. We have come on the road from east to west, from Busia, Wahaha, Swam, Amudat, all the way to Mpondwe, Sunga, and Ishasha in the west. This does not include the tarmac roads linking to the water bodies that are also transport connections, such as Jinja. Because when you have the tarmac road up to Jinja, you go into the water, you cross by ferry to Mwanza, to Kisumu, wherever you want to go. Majanji, Port Bell, Butiawa, Krisotonia, Bukakata, the are tarmac roads going up to these water bodies. We are revamping the meter gauge railway and building the standard gauge one. We are working with Kenya and Tanzania on the pipelines for the crude petroleum products and for the refined petroleum products. This will move cargo, heavy cargo, away from the roads to the railway and petroleum products from the roads to the pipeline. In the coming years, you will no longer see tankers on the road, petrol tankers. They should not be on the road. Petrol should go by pipe. Should not be competing with cars. That leaves the roads for only passengers and light cargo. The minimum roads must be maintained always. Where the 3 billion shillings per district, which we send, they just eat it. If it is not enough, why not bring up the matter? You, the members of parliament, if you think that the 3 billion per district is not enough, bring it up. And we cut money from somewhere and we make sure the roads are worked on. Instead of just keeping quiet and you find the Madam Road from Lira to my village in Barregi. It was terrible. It was very bad. It has not been maintained for a long time. Therefore, the NLM has identified all the requirements for building a prosperous Uganda. The NLM has also provided for the means for individuals, families, or companies that want to be part of the socio-economic transformation story. As I've said before, our mission has been to ensure that the individuals, the families, or the companies that listen to our message are assisted to be wealth and jobs creators. Right from the beginning, we realized that the internal factors are crucial, but not enough to ensure the socio-economic transformation of Uganda. We need to answer the question, in quotes, if the individuals, families, or companies create wealth and produce products and services in 4 sectors of commercial agriculture, manufacturing, services, and ICT, is the internal market enough? Is the internal market enough of these African countries? Our answer was no. The internal market cannot be enough. Indeed, if the internal markets were enough, why would a country like China, with 1.3 billion people, or India, external markets? Hence, ever since the 1960s, we have been having a Pan-African agenda on top of the patriotic agenda within Uganda. The Pan-African agenda was aimed at the economic integration of the whole of Africa in a continental market and for the political integration within East Africa, leading to the political federation of East Africa. The economic integration would deal with the prosperity of the African people, while the political integration of Uganda. Most of the factors are in place now. That is why we are now saying no more sleep, no more Kukongora, leaning on your home when others are working. No more Kugumaza, diverting people's attention. No more corruption. And no more politeness to non-performers who want leadership for ego and personal interests. We must ensure that Njuku, house to house, ought be ought in our Luo language. Ensure that Njuku For the families with the land, they get into the money economy with Chibaro. The ones without land, their solution is the yoga, skills. Indeed, we also need to know that with increasing population, it will be neither possible nor necessary for everybody to have land. That is why there are other sectors, manufacturing and artisanship, services, ICT, transport, entertainment, ICT, BPOs. In the developed countries, very few people own land. I saw in the Negative Monitor newspaper an article by an individual known as Gawaya Tegule, who is always writing mendaciously and maliciously, saying that Uganda has been wandering in the desert for 40 years, like the children of Israel. Those who are wandering in the desert are partly those who listen to those liars. If you listen to the liars, you will wander in the desert. It is true that many of the leaders do not amplify this message of how people can get out of poverty. However, those who do change their lives. I understand Gawaya comes from Bugwere area. Let him visit Mama Nabutono and her husband, or Buko de Selu Kasasela Ward, Kasasela Town Council. Let's see Mama Nabutono if you have her.
Roda bendi tubakulwanywa ganzera muzone gebeta bukoda Paris Lageta Kasasira Ward, Kasasira Town Council, Kibuku County, Kibuku District. Na nigraka project ya isunu mtara wange na utono Florence takulishia bizi umwaka lukulwenda tenda musana. Hembizi kedwalisha ngaginu ijawulijo lokolo breed. Tukirisiye mbola nenge ndisera atini yamulembe tukirisha isubi tukirisha kumugo na maulu. Program ya PDM ya izire akati yao tubaina advisor aba external field extension workers ganyo mwamabona yarambulanga aka project ya izike bizi atu magezi de project ya mbuyongera magezi omba iseyo upeneke bizi yamulembe
ena fune ese ke par sumo do banka na emtwale ke damu na gise na giongeyo omkato yange nkaire mbizi gide galoko ni tabirira ni gidiala omundi zejo eja byaire ni tunda bana ni kobanti na komani ni ngulamu ese koko yona ndi kunyisya ese tegindi ni kozesa efibyo kubana.
You know, when they are speaking, whether they speak in Yankari in their own way, that I can follow everything. So they had some local pigs before, but when PDM came, they bought the modern ones. Whether they speak in Yankari also mix it with the Rwanda. Kubiara is the Rwanda or what? No, Rwanda is a bit different. So now they have pigs. They have also Sekoko. I didn't know anything about Sekoko myself. They're the ones who exposed me. So once the people get capital, they will do their own things, like Dr. there. Uganda has gone through 5 phases of positive development. These are the recovering phase. of the colonial enclave economy and ending the informalization of the economy to Magendo, Chibanda, and Kusamala. That was smuggling, forex black market, and speculation. Following the destruction of the economy by Idi Amin, expanding the enclave economy, diversifying it. That is how the dairy sector changed the cattle corridor, and the cassava is changed in many parts of Uganda. These are totally new cash products. In addition to some of the raw materials, e.g. gold, and the knowledge economy of the automobiles, vaccines, computers, etc. What is high sounding sloganeering there? Well, that's what the other gentleman was saying, that's just slogans. These are achievements on the ground. Let's go and go to nearby Mbali Industrial Park. Show us the industrial park. Mbali. How can you call that a slogan? Is that a slogan? That area. These are achievements on the ground. Let's go and go to nearby Mbali Industrial Park. How can such a park be a desert where there is no water or peaceable production? Yes, there are problems of the issues like drugs in health centers. That is why another time I will talk more about this, the issue of service delivery. That is why the NLM introduced democracy from the very beginning by getting people to elect the committees of the resistance councils, especially in the Bukit area. FOBA, the group of who are saying they were following Obote, started killing those elected leaders until we crushed FOBA. Elect people who help in exposing those mistakes. You have the power. Another time I'll speak about that because the parish and everywhere there is local leadership, especially at the sub-county, and there are councillors. Why should things go wrong when all those leaders are there? Of course, even the government was also responsible. Because they are the GISOs in every sub-county. Why would things go wrong and the GISO doesn't know? And the GISO. The facts of the matter are that with the limited waking up, where 67% of the homesteads as compared to 9%. In 1962, only 9% of the people were in the money economy. Only 9%. When I checked in 2013, only 32% were in the money economy. But as we speak now, 67% of the homesteads are in the money economy. And Uganda has graduated from the least developed countries to a lower middle income country. Our GDP rose from 3.9 billion in 1986 to now 69.3 billion by forex exchange method and 197.1 billion by the PPP method. The GDP per capita has risen to US dollars 1,278, while the threshold for lower middle income status is $1,136. Household poverty has declined from 56% in 1992 to now 16.1%. Life expectancy was 43 years 1986. It was 46 in 1992, but it had come down to 43 by 1986 because of the chaos which had been created. It had come from 43. It is now 68 years. The infant mortality rate was 122 for 1,000 born alive. It is now 36 for 1,000 born alive. In other words, our economy has expanded more than 17 times in the last 40 years of recovery, expansion, diversification, body addition, entering the knowledge economy, and transformation. This year, the economy is projected to grow at 6.4%, and the next year, the GDP will grow by 10%, pushing the size of the economy to US $80 billion. All this is before the start of the flow of our commercial oil. The last 15 years alone, the country has added 31 new products to the export basket. Uganda now exports manufactured goods, including pharmaceuticals, refined gold, steel, ICT products, ceramics, plastics, the dairy products already talked about. Uganda's exports have reached US $18 billion in the 12 months ending in March 2026. The 67% of the people that have listened to our messages and friends from outside that have invested here have turned our economy into a country of surpluses. Milk, 5.4 billion liters from 200 million liters in 1986. Fish, 727,000. Coffee, 9.3 million 60 kilogram bags from 2 million bags in 1986. 76,000 metric tons of cocoa. Cement, from about 5,000 tons to 7 million metric tons of cement. Maize, from 200,000 to 5 million metric tons. Bananas, from 6.6 million to 11 million metric tons. Cassava, from 3.5 million to 4.5 million metric tons. Sugar, from 150,000 to 700,000 metric tons. We are now set for further and faster growth and transformation. With electricity, we have moved from 60 megawatts in 1986 to now 2,098 megawatts. We are, however, aiming at 50,000 megawatts from hydro, solar, gas, wind, nuclear, and geothermal. Therefore, all the leaders must ensure that those programs are downloaded in their respective areas. In the next 5 years, all the households with land must get the low interest capital in the form of PDM. You, the leaders, you must ensure this. You must go up to the parish levels. You may not visit every parish, but you call the parish chiefs at the constituency level and make sure they do their work. If they don't do their work, we shall strike all of them. There's already 557 million in the parish. I was saying 800 million in the other address, but there's now because when the PDM started, initially they sent less than 100 million per year. So they are now saying the money which is in the parish, including the one on paper, is 557 million in the parish. And it has reached 3.7 million households. We're going to put shillings 100 million plus 15 million for the leaders per annum per parish in the rural areas, and shilling is 300 million plus 15 million for the leaders per ward in the towns. Uganda shilling 760 billion has gone for the Myoga, operating from the constituency level. Where is that money? How many and which Myoga associations are benefited from this money? There's one of the young people was involved with the Myoga money. Fortunately, he was elected as a member of parliament for Kasanda area. Bisaso, is Bisaso here? Where's the Bisaso? Oh, I'm not allowed to, because I'm not allowed to speak, to say anything, and the other guy are not supposed to stand up or walk or what. Is it Bisaso here? Ah, that's how Bisaso looks like. He knows about that man. Thank you. When I come to peace, some traders have generated a lot of capital through imports. These are the ones that built arcades, real estate. There's a young lady called Nanteza that is always focusing on UBC, the different real estate developers. Can we see Nanteza? If you have captured her, she's always showing how rich people are. Let her speak also. Where is she? You're suppressed her. Those are all real estate built by your people. When you notice, you suppress her. Because I've been watching her show every Sunday. She's always showing. So there's poverty in Uganda, but there's also wealth. But those are Ugandans. Those are Ugandans. A Ugandan returnee from abroad was recently trying to buy a flat in the Kampala area, and they were demanding US dollars 1.2 million. A Ugandan who was come from outside came back. You know, when people are outside, they think that Uganda is in poverty. So this Ugandan came back, was looking for a flat, and the flats were selling at $1.2 million. And as she was trying to mobilize the money, the resident Ugandans had bought all the flats. Only when she came back, they said, sorry, all the flats are sold. She was amazed. That me, the diaspora, I don't have money. These Ugandans, the stayees, have a lot of money. The middle class is coming up. The question is, what sort of middle class are we witnessing coming up? Are they the comprador bourgeoisie that are agents of foreign interests? Or importers, commission agents, etc.? Or are they the national bourgeoisie that build the capacity of the country through being big or small farmers, manufacturers, service providers, and ICT operators? Let us therefore move. No more sleep, no more Congora, no more corruption, no more Kugumaza, no more politeness towards non-performers. This one, it is actually, I have been polite enough. I don't, Wemara people, all the non-performers must do leadership. Leadership is not for ego, but for people and country. In agriculture, it is possible to have pan-Ugandan rural transformation. In the Exodus area, I have 9 villages with 2,048 homesteads now. As of today, all the 2,048 homesteads have joined the money economy with coffee, bananas, dairy farming, goat rearing, and poultry. Let me see my exposed areas if we have put some.
Manya gange zeru region nimusajja mulimi nundayo nimanyo kusenga nimanye mwanyi nimakasoli ebitooke nalanza n'okulima ennyaanya naye njaga kwebaza nnyo President Museveni kubanga yasanga kitumanyi kyakkola kusooka nga ettaka lyaffe lyerisinga obulungi wano mu disitulikiti y'e Gombo naye ettaka lyonna nga bizi za musiko mwezisula President bwe yatuweereza batusomesa ne batuyigiriza engeri gy'osobola okulima emmere bwe tulaba mu mmere kati abaasooka okulabuka ate kakati tuli basajja bagagga so ekitiibwa kyonna kyonna kitiibwa President Museveni okusooka mbeka President yampa ebitooke nennima nalimayika 5 ebitooke ebyo nafuna nakuŋŋanya $2.7 million mu bitooke endala ezaweerera abaana zendalya layisi zibala naye bwe nafunanga katugeze $1 million nonteekako $300,000 oba 5 nesevinga $2.7 million kakati Museveni ewedde emmwanyi zokka nga nzigyeko zinateekamu kubanga nze ebiseera ebisinga sibala zitaddemu saagala kuzibala njagala bwe mmala nze njagala okukubuulira ngemagoba nafuna $15,000 nenyongerako sizoni eyo ey'emmwanyi nenzimba ennyumba yali ya $9.3 nenyizimba era naawe weeri nagulawo obubuzi nagulawo $9,900,000 waliwo yiika emu n'ekitundu nina abaana 6 bonabona bali ku ssomero kati ekyo nakyo magoba nguzeeko ebibanja kubanga fe abalimi obudde bwonabona olowoleza mu kulima kati mukaseera mubeera kiba tekikumala kirala nengulamu emmotoka nagigula $1,48,000 ebirala nonzeeko nenaye obutono katanyerera obubuzi bwange era nabumva mumwanyi President zampadde naye tuyire tusoomooza ekisooka emmwanyi zino zirina akawuka tusobola okulabako nga zino kubanga abatuyigiriza abalimisa batugamba tugenda obirojjola wezanga kino kati okalaba kano kati amakungula gaakano gandibadde ngaagaakano.
When I first went to Kisozi in 1990, they were all democratically poor. They had no idea of money. I would go very early in the morning to see my cows, and by 9 they would be sitting in the trading centers on the verandas. Mulimutya banange tuli bulungi. Mukola ki? Tuli awo. They are just there. They are doing what? Tuli awo. Esente muzijjawa. Ate munange tuzirawa. Money is not seen. Mpozo tuwa akasente. That's what they would do. They would ask me for money. So I really started fighting with those people. So please, donate your own money. Now I'm very glad that initially the homesteads were 1,300, I think. Now they are 2,448. They all are in the money economy. I don't want to be in a parish where there are homes where people are in poverty and they're just contented. I visited a parish in Rubirizi some years ago called Ndangaro. There are 2,500 homesteads. And they were all poor, no money. Very rich area, it's a volcanic area, it's very, very fertile soil, but the advice what to do. They said, we are all poor here, except one man called Kateva, who had 7 pigs. This is the one who was rich. Kateva. Shana Kateva, no Geiga. I never from Shah. Can Shakajum Gay or Shakajum Gay, no Havani Pulsar. This is terrible. And you find the leaders, the political leaders, even the church leaders. I started calling with the church leaders. I went to Chikoni, in Tungamo. This is what they call Amagisha. Amakumbra, they bring it to God. I saw one woman bringing one egg. That he's bringing the one egg to God. After 1 year. Walking very, 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 very humble as if she's going to heaven that time. This is terrible. You cannot have people like this. Please, honorable members, allow me to show you that woman of release again. That God calling what? To him is the one. The one who will release.
Amazina mbayita Tusime Bezerata omutuze wa Rubirizi district ate yimirira ndi museri ya Kizurugo nisima president wa Uganda ayatwire PDM nyokuranyira emyaka nkaga nina nkatene kinda tungira haka.
Now, that's the statement that I want you to capture. That she was 64 years that time, but she had never owed anything in her life. You imagine that. What sort of society? And she has got children. Then how would the family be? Eh? I showed you the other time appeal. Let's see appeal again. Omulira.
Anya feel pretty. Aburi wana kiti nama Leri Sen, the Banya Ward, yeah, my town council, the Lera district.
Our name is Apiu Fiki, a resident of Aling Risel, Banya Ward, Amach Town Council in Lira District.
Agam Sen, a PDM,
she got the money for PDM in 2023. 970,000 and then 30,000 remaining in the bank. She planted maize. She bought maize 15 sackets. 30,000 each sacket. She used it, actually she planted it in the 3 acres of land. Preparing the garden costed 150 for the 3 acres. Weeding cost her 50,000. Then spraying cost her 40,000. Time for harvest came.
It's called the story of Appeal. She has been married for 20 years. And she has got other children, like 18 and so on, teenagers. But she had never handled 1 million shillings in her life. She did not have land. When she got land, when she got the 1 million shillings, she didn't have her own land. She had to go and hire 3 acres from somebody else grow maize, sell the maize, put some of the money back into agriculture, and then buy those sheep, the ones you sold. When I was doing the campaign, she told me she had no 60 sheep. Then I didn't know about sheep. So who buys sheep? She the one who told me that no, South Sudanese like sheep, they buy. So these people, our people are really clever people. If they are supported, they even know things we don't know. I didn't know sheep. That sheep are even dreaming in my dream. I can't dream sheep. But for her, she knew that sheep has got a market in South Sudan. Nabutono, I don't know who buys Sekoko. I have no idea. But they know. So what they have is support. So therefore, I want the Exodus motto. I don't want to live in a parish where there are poor people. That's what I told them. Exodus nabagamba sagala kulana n'abaavu. Njagala kugenda mu ggulu. I want to go to heaven. I don't want the angels to block me, say you are an Exodus. You are enabling poor people. You kept quiet. So I must tell you, I told them. Now you saw the house of that man. Show us his house, his coffee. Show us again the man of Exodus. See the house, see the car, house, car, coffee. That's how they are now. So the leadership is not for ego, but for the people and the country. In agriculture, it is possible to have an Ugandan rural transformation. In the Exodus area, I have 9 villages, 2,048 homesteads now. As of today, all the 2,048 homesteads have joined the money economy with coffee, bananas, dairy farming, goat rearing, and poultry. You didn't show my manager, which was Narwanda. Don't you have her picture? I've got a girl whom I educated from P2. She went to Tunisia, now she's the one managing. Narwanga, these people don't like my useful people. Narwanga chimumwagala bano. In the cattle corridor, most of the original families have joined the money economy through the dairy economy. In order to stabilize agriculture, we are addressing the issue of irrigation. Apart from the big irrigation schemes such as Mobuku, Doha, etc., we are developing many micro solar powered irrigation schemes, working with the British group known as Nexus Green. As we speak, they have worked with the government to put solar powered irrigation schemes in Angola, Serere, Bukedea, Amoratar, Kwania, Apache, Kasanda, Masaka, Mukono. Those are some of the irrigation schemes. In conclusion, however, the two residual problems with the peasantry are, as I pointed out above, some of them still relying on oxytura, free range, which underutilizes the land. The square mile of well-cleared farm, no bushes, no mtete, no shrubs, no acacia, will cater for 300 longhorn cattle. including the cows. With pasture growing and zero grazing, a square mile will cater for 6,000 cattle. 6,000 cattle can be fed by a square mile of where you grow the pasture. With free range, you need 3 acres for 1 cow. With zero grazing, 1 acre can support 8 Frisian cattle and 12 Ankole ones. We are aggressively sustaining them on this. The other residual issue is the primitivity of poverty fragmentation in the form of inheritance after the head of the family has died. These recent arrivals from poverty need to be sustained about family companies instead of individual inheritance. With these measures and those earlier mentioned, we shall have massive production and lots of creating jobs for hundreds of millions of Ugandans and the Africans from the neighboring countries. All this is before you add manufacturing, services, and ICT. In this speech, I've spent more time on agriculture. It's not because I don't know, I'm not aware of the other sectors. But this is where many of our people can all move more easily. That's why I'm emphasizing it, especially for you, the new members of parliament. Now, in conclusion, the main problem I have seen in all these 65 years, when I have been active, it has been obutamanya, ignorance, and okwenyoma. Africans underrate themselves. They like what other people do. They don't know how useful what they do is. Our friend Basangwa, show them Basangwa again. Basangwa Johnson, Managing Director of Jeka Poultry Farm. Jeka Poultry Farm, yagambibwa ku Kwenge, Kamuli Municipality, Kamuli District. 2007, twatandika obulunzi nga tutandikira mu Kamuli Town Council by then, mu plot yali 50 feet by 100 feet. There's a foot atano ku 10 eda itaka. Tutandika tutya. Twali nga tulina ebyobufuzi wano mu Kamuli nga waliwo ensonga nga chairman wa C5 omugenzi Kawuga bamwidukira Katonda amuwa ekyomulo eky'emirembe nga bamutoyiremu abantu bangi abaatamu application nga bali kwenda okufuuka ba chairman ba 5. Ayi president yaida yatulongamya yakoba ati bwana abantu mwena mwena temusobola kuba ba chairman ba 5. Aye abantu mujje mukola emirimu egindi ng'okulunda yayogera kulunda MVP okulunda enkoko byonna yabyogerako. Nze napikinga mu ky'okulunda enkoko n'atandika efaamu mu 2007 n'enkoko 5. Sawa dino wendogerera faamu kuno kize mabega ntambwire. President yada yankyalira mu 2010 nga nina enkoko 5 yasanuka ino. Sawa dino tutambwire tulina enkoko emitwalo 10 tufulumya amagi etro 2,000 buli lunaku. Etro 2,000 livaamu milioni 2 buli lunaku. Omwezi diba milioni 6. Omwaka tuba tuli mu bilioni ze 6 n'ekitundu etuba tukwase kuingiza. So tuwuliriza omulamu gwa president okuva ku kiseera ekyo twakati katukigiira. President abaire musanhufu ino ku bintu byenkoze era nga buli kaseera nkyekingako. Wendogera kati tulina abakozi 300. Now, that is the story of Basangwa. How he listened to my message in 2007 and started with a small plot for poultry and eggs. Is now selling 2,000 trays per day, earning 20 million shillings a day. Now, during the campaign or one of those times, I was showing these pictures, these videos. People in UK where Ugandans in diaspora were watching. They watch, even the ones who are in the diaspora. So when they saw me showing Basangwa earning 20 million shillings a day, they say, Museveni Ayimba, Museveni is telling lies. How can anybody in Uganda earn 20 million shillings a day? Let's go and see. People came from the UK to come and see. They say this picture, which Museveni showed, was taken somewhere else. It's not in Uganda. So they came. Ugandans from UK, they came to check the lie of Museveni. How can Ugandans earn 20 million shillings a day? For Vanagana Trauma, how can somebody earn 20 million shillings a day? So they came and they visited Basanga. They were shocked to know that what I was saying was actually true. Now, they have actually invited Basanga to go and become a lecturer there in the diaspora, to go and visit them. He came and told me, they invited me, the diaspora invited me. They didn't believe this is where the problem is. And when we were talking about these things at Antare in the school in the 1960s, they said, Museveni is a communist. It's not, they didn't believe. They didn't believe that Ankole cattle were useful. They were teaching in the school that Ankole cows are neither good for meat nor for milk. Really? But I grew with the cows. I said, go to hell. I will never live with the Ankole cows. You want to see them, you show them the cows. Mazareva. How can people? Now these are the most precious cows. The other day, Ramaphosa sold one of our cows for 200 million shillings, 187 million. So this is what I have seen. I think the main problem is ignorance and ukwenyoma, not having confidence in oneself. I think this is really the main problem. To find people going to work in Dubai, what are you going to do in Dubai? A desert. Dubai. What are you going to do in Dubai? When I go there, I pray that I come back quickly. The temperature, the climate, the what. You live paradise here. This is paradise. You go to work in those places. It is inferiority complex, ignorance, poor leadership, uprooted. People who have no roots. I am rooted here. My roots are here. There is nothing I don't know. I grew with our culture. I'm able to know what should be forgotten because it was not scientific enough. But much of it is correct and can be updated. So with these few words, I present the government's legislative program to the parliament. It is in Annex 1 here, no, Annex 2. There are so many bills which are Prime Minister will present Parliament, the Minister will present the bill for building substances, the small arms, light weapons control, amendment of universities and other tertiary institutions. And so there are so many of them here. The laws are presented by Minister of the Parliament. There are so many. 38 of them, 38 bills which will be presented. Right Honorable Speaker, I present.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. Please accept our appreciation for your clear and concise exposition of government policy in your address on the state of the nation. The government's legislative agenda, as contained in your address, will be prioritized pursuant to Rule 26(1) of the Rules of Procedure of Parliament, as and when the front page introduces them. And I think the Right Honorable Prime Minister, in our first business committee meeting, he will ably do that. Honorable members, today's address by His Excellency will not elicit any comment or question, as per Rule 10, Sub-Rule 4A of the Rules of Procedure. However, at a later date during the session, in consultation with the Business Committee, debate on the President's address on the state of the nation will be scheduled in line with Rule 26(1) of the Rules of Procedure. Honorable members, as you may already be aware, on Thursday, 11th of June, 2026, His Excellency the President will deliver the budget speech pursuant to Article 1551 of the Constitution. I therefore urge you all to accordingly take note, and it will take place right here in Kololo ceremony. And I once again want to thank you, Your Excellency, and all dignitaries and invited guests for gracing this function. And my appeal to you all, honorable members of the 12th Parliament, let's stand to be counted, to be the members of Parliament who will sleep no more, to be the members of Parliament who will be remembered for waking up ourselves and waking up our people towards the money economy. We should resolve today to be the generational leaders who do not only listen, but also act on the guidance of President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni. May God bless you all. Thank you for your kind attention.
Be tral. Arangeni wunu winyo loki ino liweng poch tika bino botu kuno wunu kerchunyo uneno lokman kid mo loke winyo actually kid mo loke kere jemi moko tie angeni ma wunu gware tie mano tika kworo ni gwaro nyo ki loke iye ti gwaro nyo pe loke iye kenyo beno wek wangeni wuta tama meku kidong bene dotua ang'eyo ni ka wunu winyo lonyo dano testimonies ma dano tikede pole weng o kibut Uganda totale yung Western tian loke ni wan pa watika timu kino mo madi ikumal me Uganda nyokono kape chino gware put omir kinyanya ni wan watika timu gimo kikumal me Uganda kakany anatamni ki yung bodan machala didi ben atamni akil wulok man dong kadang akil ya kikine atamni luba umiro mete tutwal ke gwako hun ikara duchu ya kidong bere melupula kwe TV kachel ki tarpaluo kidong platforms mapapat machingju wano wanen iye lupwa kuno kachel achel kidong bere ngeni lok duju mabibino malupe gwakonyo kijami mano malupe ki lok mapierte kachal kaman eno ni wan wabikelo ne botu wek wun beno nge opoyo matek tutwal meneno wa chaki ya chakine na dit logo tiyo lok mamege ento jema duong angeni dano uber ka bikone chibedong pege mete gudu ne bien lok me bola lok me nga gini ini don wana neno lok ke beno pedo lok ke an beno peda winyo si angeni lok mogo fut bibero tie maduong report mogo mabibero kakati gwakonyo ki ministry mayor kom kachel gwak kidno joma papat mano gien ofij mamegi nyuru bodgi ni umir no gien gu kuke lok en wako kamaleng cha tam ni kiri kala dir lo pe okero loke enuni ikin lok ma en tino miro logi fut wano be mete kuno wano lok mukene ki kome kenyo lok me bola angeo mere ngur tie maduong ta lok madano bene loko bene tie duong ento gwake peluoro kong pe ki cha gin mo ke ken mano ki winyo chalo kaman gwake pere tek dano umiro bed makwo anapoyo rot mete ki gwako wo
Sending love to my motherland, a beautiful place in Africa. The love